Hi everybody, Kevin DeBrina with Finch Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC. Pretty excited today because behind me here I have a Chevrolet Equinox LS. We sell a lot of LTs, we don't sell a ton of LSs, but I want to show you what you're getting for your money when you get into a Chevrolet Equinox. Starting out on the outside, you're going to see that you do have alloy wheels. That's one of the things that I love about getting into an Equinox is you don't have those hubcaps and steel wheels. You got a nice set of alloy wheels. And really, on the outside, the difference between this and a $35,000 Equinox is the window tint. Window tint, color-coded mirrors, and a lack of roof rack are the things that you're going to be missing on the outside of the car going with the LS model. As we approach the doors here, you'll see we still have our keyless access. Keyless access is great because just one push, lock it, one push, unlock it. As long as you've got the key inside 1 meter, you're going to be able to access your vehicle. While we're talking about keys and keyless entry, we have our unlock, lock, remote start, and then you can find your horn in the parking lot. So one quick push, you get those few soft chirps. A longer push, it's going to get louder. And push it again, it will turn that off. Remote start, just wanted to touch base on that. To activate the remote start, you're going to push the lock button, hold the start button for 3 seconds, the lights will flash, and the vehicle will start. If you did want to turn the vehicle off, you could just hit the start button again, and the vehicle will turn off. At the back of the vehicle, you can see this is the all-wheel drive, but they do also offer it in a front-wheel drive. Let's take a look in the rear cargo area. Lots of space, and that space gets even bigger when you fold down those back seats. So you got a nice flat loading surface. And then under here, we've got more space. And under here, we got our spare tire. So they've done a great job keeping the spare tire internally housed, giving you lots of hidden storage space, and of course, storage space on the top. If you're familiar with the previous generation, the back seats used to move forwards and backwards. In this vehicle here, they don't do that anymore. But the compromise is now we have that flat loading surface. We do have reclining seats. So there is position 1 and position 2. And also in the back, we've got our vents and our charge ports. Let's hop on up to the front seat. We can get a little more comfortable with the features. Before I hop in, I just want to talk about the seating controls. On the side here, we have our first lever, which is our height adjuster. That's going to move the seat up and down. You can pump it up or pump it down. And then the last one here is going to be the recline, so you can lean back or sit up a little bit straighter. Right up in the front, there's that handle there. That's how we're going to slide forwards and backwards. So I'm going to get myself comfortable up here. Let's get the vehicle started. Perfect. Get that music down. So I'm going to kind of sweep from here all the way across the vehicle, and we'll finish off on the radio so we can talk about a few of the options in there. Starting on the door, we've got our lock and unlock buttons, power mirrors, which are pretty easily controlled. That's our driver mirror, our passenger mirror, and if you push it again, the lights turn off. That way, if you hit these by accident, you're not adjusting your mirrors. Over here, we've got our window lockout. That's for your rear passengers, whether you have kids back there or pets. It will prevent them from rolling down or rolling up the windows. And then we have our power window controls. Headlights are fully automatic. You can see the symbol right here. Turning it back towards the off would turn your lights off if you had the vehicle running and let's say you were parked at a drive-in or somewhere else where you need to keep the headlights off. If you turn it off, it'll rest in the auto position. Your lights will stay off until you put the vehicle in drive, and then the lights will turn on automatically. If you wanted to turn on your marker lights for inclement weather or your full headlights, they can be done here as well. While I'm talking about lights, I wanted to talk a little bit about this button right here. This is new. This is our automatic high beams. So what happens is at nighttime, when our nighttime lights are on, we can push this automatic high beam button. There'll be a light, I think shows right about here. That'll let you know that your automatic high beams are on, and it uses the camera, which is up in here, to tell if you're approaching a car or if a car is approaching you and turns off your high beams and puts your regular lights on. I've driven with it for a while now, and it's very intuitive, works really well. This little button over here, it just pushes out of the way, and then when it's out, that's going to control your dash lights, how bright they are at nighttime. Not doing anything right now, of course, because it is during the day. Steering wheel adjustments. Down here we have our tilt and telescopic lever. So once that's released, you'll be able to pull your steering wheel in and out, as well as up and down. Put it in a comfortable position, and then pull the lever back up and lock it into place. Behind our steering wheel here, we have our driver information center. Our driver information center is controlled by this 5-way switch right here. So you'll notice we've got 3 menus across the top: the road menu, the car menu, and the leaf menu, for the lack of better terms. Going back over into the road menu, we've got our digital speedometer, trip odometers with average fuel economy during those trips, fuel range. We've got a full tank in this vehicle. It says we can do 584 kilometers. Average speed. There's a timer if you wanted to time your road trips, and a blank page for a nice clean display. Moving over to the vehicle, we've got our following distance indicator. That's tied in with your forward collision alert. Forward collision alert is going to track the vehicles in front of you, and if they slow down rapidly and you don't, it will give you a warning by shining some lights here off of your windshield, and you'll hear a beep, 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 and you just kind of instinctively hit the brakes. If you find that the warnings are happening too frequently, over here, you can change how much warning you get. So that's the most warning, medium warning, and a low warning. So I'm going to leave it on that because that's the one that I prefer. If you're driving one of these vehicles and getting too many false alarms, just shorten the distance for the warning. Battery voltage, coolant temperature, stability, and traction control are both turned on. Units. This is where you can switch from miles to kilometers. If you are changing countries, we click on the check mark, open our options, move down to US, and click the check mark. And now everything is in miles. So the analog speedometer is in miles, as well as the digital speedometer when displayed, and even your temperatures have flipped over to Fahrenheit. And to move that back to metric, because we're in Canada here, and I want to make sure nobody gets any speeding tickets. And then the last one is speed warning. Speed warning is actually really good if you've got a heavy foot. Here in Canada, if you're driving 50 kilometers over the speed limit, they can impound your car for racing. So most of the highways are around 100 kilometers per hour, and most people never go over 140. So we can set that at 140, click. And so now if we got to 140, we would get a notice that we are going above the predetermined speed. It would allow you to go faster, but it's going to give you that warning. And that is our road menu: oil life, oil pressure, tire pressures. Tire pressures, you'll notice they're not exactly the same. That's because depending on whether the sun is shining on the tires or the vehicle's being driven or not being driven, the air pressure will change slightly inside the tires. And then back to our following distance indicator. And the last one here, the leaf menu. This is just your fuel economy trend, letting you know if you're getting better at how you're driving the car from a fuel economy standpoint or getting worse. Moving all the way back over to the road menu and the digital speedometer. That's the one that most of my customers like. While we're talking about this, pretty straightforward. We've got our tachometer, fuel gauge, temperature, and our speedometer. And your odometer is right at the bottom there at 72. To the left of the 72, you see that E. That means we're facing east. That is your compass. On the other side, we have the P. We're in park. If we go into reverse, I can get our backup camera to illuminate. The backup camera does have grid lines. So when you turn, the lines will turn with you. And also you can turn off those grid lines if they get in your way. So just turn those off right now. And then that little white strip along the bottom there, that is the bumper. So when that bumper hits the wall, you're hitting something. So try not to make that happen. I think I've talked about just about everything there in the driver information center. Aside from auto stop, this vehicle does feature auto stop. What that means is when you're driving the vehicle and the operating temperature of the vehicle is up, if you come to a complete stop, your engine can turn off. It'll stay off while your foot is on the brake. When you release your foot off the brake, the engine will fire up, and this is going to save you some money in fuel, which is already in the standard fuel economy guides. On the left of the steering wheel, we have our lane keep assist. Lane keep assist is going to continue to use that camera that we have up there, and it's going to take 12 pictures a second of the road in front of you, reading the lines. If you get too close to the line, what it'll do is just pull your steering wheel so that you're back inside the line. Not designed to keep you in the center of the lane, but it is designed to help you from veering off to one side or the other. It works both on the right and on the left, and it works at speeds of 60 kilometers an hour and higher. Beside that, we already talked about the forward collision alert button, and we have all of our cruise control settings. So this is our cruise on and off button. You can see it flashing there. When that light is on, that means our cruise works, and we can use our set and resume buttons. The cancel button on the side here is what's going to, if you're coming up to a traffic that's slowed down, or you're getting off the highway and you want to coast, you can just hit that, as opposed to disengaging the cruise control using the brake pedal. Windshield wipers right over here. So we do have a rear wiper, intermittent and on, and then of course our regular intermittent, low and fast. The other thing a lot of people are not aware of is if you have a little bit of debris on your windshield, you can just push down once and the wipers will pass and clear that for you. So great during inclement weather, especially in the wintertime when ice and snow is being kicked up on your windshield, but not very frequently. Down in the center here, we've got our shifter. Pretty straightforward: park, reverse, neutral, drive, and low. When you're in the low gear, you can actually control the gears of the transmission using these buttons up here. And it will display what gear you're in right down there at the bottom. You can see L2, L3, L4, L6, and then we can go back down. So that's going to limit your top gear. It's a feature not a lot of people use around here, but what does happen is in your little bit of a rush, you go into drive, you go too far into low, and you're trying to figure out why your engine is revving so high and your transmission is not shifting. And that's because you're in the low gear. If that happens, just slide up into D while driving, and it'll pick the appropriate gear for you, and you'll be ready to go. Above the shifter here, we have our all-wheel drive button. As I mentioned, this is an all-wheel drive. They are available in two-wheel drive. By pushing this button and turning off the light, it will disengage the rear wheels, and it will be front-wheel drive only. Great if you want to save a little bit of money on fuel during nice weather conditions. And back in here is our parking brake. A lot of people have gotten used to these. Pull to set, push to release. And it works just like a handbrake while you're driving. So most people aren't going to use this while driving, but if you needed it, that's why it's called an emergency brake. If you pulled up, it would engage, and if you released, it would release. And so that's the way it works when you are in drive. And all those are going to be displayed right here in your driver information center, so that you know whether your brake is engaged or not. Above the shifter, we've got our climate control systems. Pretty straightforward here. We've got fan speed, temperature, and then where you want the air to flow. What I love about this system is we've got 3 different places to flow air, and we can pick any 1, 2, or 3 of those and have the air flowing where we want it to. There's a couple of systems out there that don't allow you to do that. I really love this system. On the outside here, we have our heated seats. They are 3-position heats. This is the passenger seat. Driver seat is over here. High, medium, low, and off. And temperature gauge, if I haven't talked about it, is over on the other side. 4 ways right in the middle, very easy to get to. Sometimes you'll hit that button by accident when you're going to adjust the volume control, so keep an eye on that. And then we have our radios. This is the basic radio that General Motors offers in the Equinox. They packed a lot of features in here. You notice we have AM, FM. There is no satellite radio. But we do have Bluetooth, so you can listen to music from your phone. The other thing that we have, if we go over to the home page, is Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. If you're a satellite radio user, but it's not in this vehicle, what you can do is subscribe on your cell phone, and then you can listen to satellite radio using either of those two applications, Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. You can also stream it via Bluetooth. Going back to the audio menu here, across the top we have all of our presets. Presetting your radio stations is just as easy as hold the set. We've now programmed that one in here. While we're in here, we can also scan, and then we have our scan buttons down here as well. Program another one, just push and hold. Swipe over to our second page. So we've got our page here, which is going to talk about your phone when it's connected, and then we've got our radio system over here. Well, we're talking about phones. Very easy to program a phone. Hit connect the phone, add a phone, and then search for My Chevrolet on your phone. Usually takes about 30 seconds. Answer the questions on your phone, answer your questions on the radio, and you will be fully connected. Cancel that for now because I don't want to add this phone. So this is for our turn-by-turn navigation system. The vehicle does feature OnStar. All vehicles will come standard with OnStar for 1 month. You can upgrade that to 3 months if you sign up for pre-authorized billing. And the main reason a lot of people activate OnStar is they like the 10 years of complimentary coverage. So you're getting email from your phone for 10 years, letting you know how many kilometers are on it, what the oil life is there any recalls, are the tire pressures too low? You're getting that complimentary for 10 years. So always, always, always set up your 10 years of complimentary coverage. The other paid services really depend on your driving habits and whether you find value in their services, whether they be the convenience services, like being able to lock, unlock, and remote start your vehicle from your cell phone, or the safety features, like if you're in an accident and your airbags deploy, then they will know where you're located and they'll be able to send somebody out to you even if you are unresponsive. So that's just some fantastic services available through OnStar. Make sure you set up the free service and find out what's going to work well for you for some of those paid services. I think we've touched base on most of the radio features. You notice I use the home button a lot. If you're not sure where you're at in your radio, hit the home button. It brings you back to this screen. Settings, you've got your time, languages. You can add and delete phones from here. Wi-Fi networks, we do have built-in Wi-Fi, which you can have a paid subscription. And the Wi-Fi, you would just like you would hook up at home, you would hook up in your vehicle. You'll give it a Wi-Fi name. In this case here, you can see, where is our Wi-Fi name? So this is actually connecting to outside networks. The Wi-Fi that I was just talking about will be in your OnStar menu and your Wi-Fi hotspot. So we have the Wi-Fi name, Wi-Fi password, and how many devices are connected. So you can buy 1 or 5 gig packages, I believe, right now. To do it on a monthly basis can be fairly expensive, but it's nice to know that my car has the option and I can subscribe to it when I want to. I want to go back into settings for a minute, and this will be the sort of the last section in vehicles. This is where you're going to make any changes to your vehicle. Rear seat reminder. If you're opening up the back door within 10 minutes of operating the vehicle and you don't, or if you're opening up the back door within 10 minutes of operating the vehicle, when you turn off the car, you'll get a chime, ding, ding, and it'll say check back seat, just to make sure you didn't leave anything important or anyone important in the back seat. If you don't like that feature, it can be turned off. Climate and air quality, this one just has to do with the rear defogger when you're using the remote start, and this feature is turned on, and it's cold enough outside, your rear defogger will turn on with the remote start system. Collision detection systems, we do have that forward collision alert that we talked about. We have the alert and brake feature turned on. So if you're not paying attention to the system, it alerts you and you still fail to brake, this vehicle can brake for you. Same thing with your front pedestrian alert. You can get an alert if it looks like somebody is going to cross your path. And if somebody is crossing your path and the vehicle has picked them up, it will alert you and brake. Comfort and convenience, not a whole lot in here. With the windshield wipers on, as soon as you go into reverse, the rear wiper is going to pass. So I've got my front wipers on, just going to put it into reverse here. And you can see the rear wiper passes in order to clear it. As I go into a drive or a park, the rear wiper is not going to work anymore. Chime volume, you can make it really loud if you want to. I don't see any reason for most people to make their chimes really loud, so most people leave that there. An extended hill start assist, what that does is holds the brake a little bit, so when you release the brake and you're on a steep incline or decline, it'll keep the brake held until you hit the gas pedal. Pretty cool feature if you're someone who's worried about rolling back while you're taking your foot from the gas to the brake. Lighting, we can turn our lights on when we exit the vehicle for 60 seconds, 30 seconds, 120 seconds, or you can have them turn off right away. Totally programmable to whatever is most comfortable for you. And to skip power door locks, because there really isn't a whole lot to play with here. The main one you want to look at is your auto door lock and unlock. So the passive door lock, we can set this vehicle to lock itself right away as you walk away. Some people prefer it with a horn chirp, so they know it's locked. Others want to keep it nice and quiet, not to bother their neighbors. And other people just like locking the vehicle the old way, so they know and they are confident that it is locked. Passive door unlock, vehicle is set up by default to only unlock the driver door if you push that little silver button on the outside of the door. If you push it once, it will do the driver door. If you push it twice, it will do all the doors. Unless you have all doors turned on, then one button press will do all the doors at the same time. Remote left and vehicle alert, I leave that turned on. Some people turn it off, but I leave my keys usually in the cup holder if they're not in my pocket. And if I do that and take off and close the door and hear beep, 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 I know that I've turned off the car and left the keys in the cup holder. The other thing it will remind you is if you take the keys and leave the car running, you will also hear beep, beep, beep. So just remember, when you hear that, it usually means that you've left the keys in the car or you've taken the keys out and left the vehicle running. Teen driver, great feature. A lot of people don't use it, but I'm going to go in here real quickly and just kind of show you what Teen Driver is going to do in this vehicle. It essentially allows you to set up a key for a driver, and you can get a report card. How far did that person drive? What was the maximum speed? Did they get any over speed warnings? Were there wide open throttles? And did any of the safety features kick in? Really great conversation starter for some newer drivers, and maybe some peace of mind if the person driving the vehicle is a bit older and you want to make sure that they're driving well within the limits. We can manage our settings, change our PIN numbers, and of course set up keys. So that'll go through the whole process, how to have a teen driver key. Valet mode, not something that gets used very often. Valet mode in this vehicle completely locks out the radio. So if you've got your Bluetooth phone connected, they won't have access to any of your contacts, and the radio doesn't work at all when you have your valet mode set up. So we're going to unlock that, and so every time you lock it, you will pick your own code. So that kind of goes through just about everything. The last one here, apps, Android Auto and Apple CarPlay are both turned on. There's really no reason to turn those features off. I will do a second video on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto at some point, but we were 22 minutes in. This is the Equinox LS. You'll probably know now why a lot of people do consider this vehicle packed full of a lot of standard features. And if there's anything that's missing, we can definitely upgrade you to an LT or one of our premier models. Thank you so much for watching. If you know an Equinox driver or someone who's thinking of getting one, please share this video with them. I'm always happy to answer questions and have people informed of their new vehicles. Have a great day, everyone. My name's Kevin DeBrita with Finch Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC.